The manager's voice cut through the quiet lobby, like a whip, as he pointed toward the man holding a mop. "If you are just here to waste time, get out of my bank. We do not need another slow cleaner ruining the place. Move faster or move out." The words stung, sharp and humiliating, but the man gripping the mop handle did not respond. He simply lowered his gaze and continued wiping the spotless marble floor, as if the insult hadn't pierced straight through him. None of the employees bustling around him guessed the truth. None of them knew that the so-called cleaner was actually the billionaire who owned the entire building, the vaults beneath it, and every investment flowing through the walls. His name was Adrian, known across the financial world as the Ghost Billionaire. A man who built an empire so quietly that most people didn't know what he looked like. He had spent years in rooms filled with sycophants, investors desperate to impress him, and women who memorized his net worth before his eye color. He was admired, feared, envied, but almost never truly loved. So he made a decision few billionaires had the courage to make. He removed the armor of wealth. He put on a cheap janitor uniform, and he stepped into his own brand new bank disguised as a cleaner. He was determined to find someone whose kindness had nothing to do with money. For the first hour, he felt invisible. Employees brushed past him without a glance. Some muttered irritation. Others treated him like furniture. Adrian realized quickly how the world behaved when it believed someone had nothing to offer, but then she appeared, a young woman with a stack of documents pressed against. Her chest hurried in from the rain outside. She worked at the bank, though she looked nothing like the polished executives around her. Her hair was damp and a little messy, her shoes worn from long commutes, and her hands slightly trembling from carrying too many responsibilities at once. Her name was Lena Harper, a teller who often worked double shifts to support her younger brother and mother. As she rushed past Adrian, her foot slipped on the wet marble. The stack of documents exploded out of her arms and scattered across the floor like startled birds. She gasped, dropping to her knees in panic. Papers slid toward puddles from dripping umbrellas. People stared but didn't move. Adrian moved instantly. He knelt beside her, gathering the documents carefully, shielding them from the water on the floor. Lena looked at him with surprise, then embarrassment, then gratitude. She thanked him softly but sincerely, helping him collect the last paper near the trash bin. She asked him if he was new. She smiled at him warmly, and for the first time in years, Adrian felt seen not as a billionaire, but as a man. Moments later, the manager marched over, furious about the mess and immediately blaming Adrian. He barked at him for not mopping fast enough, blamed him for the wet floor, and ordered him to clean everything from scratch. Lena stood up and defended Adrian without hesitation. She said the floor had been slippery before she even entered, and that Adrian had only been helping her. She insisted the blame was hers, not his. Her voice stayed steady, respectful but firm. The manager sneered and walked away. But Adrian saw something remarkable in Lena. She had nothing to gain by defending a cleaner. Yet she did, and that single moment carved itself into his heart. Over the next several days, Adrian continued working in disguise. Lena greeted him daily with kindness, something small enough that others ignored it, but big enough that Adrian noticed every detail. She offered him hot tea on cold mornings. She asked if he needed help carrying heavy supplies. She even saved him from another scolding by warning him when the manager was in a foul mood. She didn't know she was speaking to a billionaire. She didn't know she was shaping his view of humanity. She didn't know she was giving him hope he thought he had lost. One afternoon, while Lena was assisting an elderly customer struggling with a withdrawal slip, Adrian watched as she patiently explained every step. Treating the old man with dignity others lacked. When the customer apologized for being slow, Lena gently told him that everyone moves at their own pace, and the bank should honor that. Adrian felt something stir deeply within him. He realized he wasn't just admiring her kindness. He was falling in love with it, but his disguise was becoming unstable. Executives began to notice how often Adrian lingered near the teller stations. The security chief questioned him aggressively, and Lena, too intuitive for her own good, began looking at him with quiet suspicion. As if trying to solve a puzzle, he didn't want her to piece together yet, then. One morning, everything changed. The CEO of the bank, Adrian's own temporary stand-in, arrived unexpectedly for what he has called a floor inspection. He walked through the lobby with several senior managers, pointing out flaws, inefficiencies, and even criticizing Lena for spending too long helping an elderly woman. When the CEO reached the cleaning staff, he stopped directly in front of Adrian. He looked him up and down with disdain before announcing loudly enough for everyone to hear that the bank could no longer tolerate unqualified cleaners who slowed down operations. He told Adrian to leave immediately and come back only to collect his final paycheck. A silence swept over the room like a cold wind. Lena gasped and stepped forward in protest, insisting it wasn't fair. She defended Adrian with force she had never shown before, insisting the cleaner worked harder than anyone else and deserved respect. The CEO dismissed her. Words. Adrian slowly placed the mop against the wall. His heart pounded not with fear, but with clarity. He realized this was the moment. The truth had to come out. He walked to the center of the lobby, removed the janitor uniform jacket, and straightened his posture. The room fell silent. Executives froze. Tellers stared. Security grew pale. The CEO demanded to know what he was doing. Adrian reached into the inside pocket of his shirt and pulled out the ID card that no one in the room ever expected to see, the ID of the billionaire. Owner-employees gasped. A teller dropped her pen. The manager who had insulted him nearly stumbled backward. Adrian revealed himself fully, every trace of disguise falling away. Eyes widened everywhere. Some whispered. Some trembled. Some tried to hide their past rudeness behind forced smiles. He walked over to Lena and thanked her not as a cleaner, but as the man who owned the bank for showing him more humanity in a week than anyone had in years. Lena's eyes shimmered with shock, confusion, and something soft beneath all that. Adrian turned to the managers. He calmly dismissed the CEO. He removed the cruel supervisor from his position, and he announced that from that day forward, anyone who disrespected the staff would no longer have a place in his bank. Then he looked at Lena. He asked her if she would join him for dinner. Away from the noise, away from the hierarchy, where two human beings could talk openly. She hesitated only for a moment before nodding, her cheeks flushed with emotion. As they walked out of the bank together, employees whispered, stunned, some by the billionaire's disguise, others by the consequences, but most by the realization that kindness had changed everything. Adrian had come disguised as a cleaner. To find someone genuine, he found her, not in wealth, not in prestige, but in the quiet, brave heart of a woman who treated everyone with dignity, and in that unexpected place, in the middle of a bank filled with people chasing money, a billionaire finally found something priceless: true love.